Wild Rose. There's something I've been longing to see. That's the reason I want to end this conflict.
What's going on, YouTube family? This is Astinosis coming at you another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video. Today we are taking a different approach at how I deliver the Firion Saga or just Lufenia fight content in general. This feedback was given to me by a few people such as Clay, and I don't... spacing the rest of the names. Anyway, the point was that when I reshare my videos from Twitch, I don't talk as much because I'm being too focused. So in this case, the way I'm doing this is going to be a little bit different. So to set this up, I unfortunately did not get to do Firion Saga the way I had originally wanted to. So I took this approach instead, and you know what? A win is a win. I had to do it for Alexander. He's still on the team. He served a purpose, and in this case, that purpose was to use the Jack calls before being swapped out for the Butts friend. Now in this case, don't make the same mistake that I did with your Yang. Take off the speed passes from Yang, because otherwise it makes it harder to set this up, because if Butts, being as slow as he is, kind of gets overshadowed by Yang, the enemy will get a few turns, but it's not the end of the world. So you put the Cater Call on Yang because you want that ice damage, and then from there you do his Ouroboros spikes. You get that set up so where he's following up all the time with Butts on his... Once you do the Jack call for Firion, I used Butts' BT, and then on his next turn I did the C65 and then his LD in order to get that third stack up, as you can see there. And then from that point on, once I get to Terra's turn, that's where the magic happens. And again, I did not want to do this way, but I did try for roughly 3-4 hours on Twitch last night, and people watched me do it, and they were trying to, you know, throw out ideas and give ideas and like, well, let's try this team, let's try that team. And the closest we got was with Garland, Firion, and Celis with, I don't remember all the calls off the top of my head. We did a Garland friend, and we got close. We got very close. We got to 10%. Unfortunately, it wasn't quite enough. I am considering coming back because this is permanent content and trying to do a legitimate clear. Unfortunately, the kit, being that you cannot allow these guys to take any turns, is detrimental to characters like Celis and Firion, because they rely on a lot of off-turn damage, because you got the Magitech Ice Block from Celis, you got the Drain Weapon from Firion. So when you're not allowing these guys to take turns, that's a lot of the damage missing, and they don't do a ton of damage up front, so you're missing out. So one of the things that I messed up was I was starting off with too many meltdowns with Terra, when realistically you just do skill 2. And the Butts BT is going to give you all that regen that you want. The other thing that I messed up here, right, as you see there, is when I had a free ability use, I used the EX because I didn't want the buff, forgetting that realistically her buff from her EX is fairly inconsequential because of the Butts BT effect, giving so much refund and everything, and causing her to do so much damage just in general. Like, as you can see here, like we're barely hitting turn 9. You know, granted she doesn't add to the turn count, but she's already trucking them down. She's got them down to about 60% now, and you know, already turn count wise, we are in very good shape, and we don't even see the enemy on the fucking board at this point. And the orb is being handled by Yang because he's got that enchantment up still, and anytime that it comes up and he does a follow-up, boom, ice damage, boom, ice damage. And it's kind of weird because these guys aren't weak to ice, you just have to do ice damage for the orb condition. And you know, with this setup, like, they get, like I said, a few turns right at the beginning, and then after that they get nothing. They get shit on. Now the other thing to remember is that there is your typical optimal burst rotation for Terra that we all should know. You know, you typically start off with her LD, and then you go into the burst, and then you spam either her skill 1 or skill 2, and then use the LD again on the final turn. Well, in this case, we want as much space ahead of these fuckers as we can, so we're not going to do it that way. Basically, so once I have one LD left, this is when I use her C65, and then I pop into the burst phase. And then this is where you don't play her completely optimally, and this is because we're increasing the longevity, because that way we still maintain an LD once we're outside of the burst. So in this case, we have all these free skill uses, so we can use the EX, get that buff back up, and this whole time while she's in burst phase, Yang is still going to be delivering all those follow-ups. Meanwhile, she's going to be trucking fools for a bunch of damage, and we even use the dual cast ability, her HP++, that's renamed to dual cast. On her final turn, just before using the burst, that is when we use the LD, like I said, because then once she comes out of the burst, boom, she gets yet another phase of doing tons of damage with her meteor for free because it was used in the burst. She gets another 4 turns, and then I still have yet another LD usage after that. And to be honest with you guys, like, I hate that I had to do it this way. Like, you guys know that I typically like to do things. I mean, it sucked having to do it with Alexander, but just Alexander's mechanics are such a pain in the dick hole. With this fight in particular, the turn count is so ridiculously low that it hurts characters like Firion and puts them at a severe disadvantage. Now, later on, when he gets his rework, I might just have to come back and clap this, you know, just out of principle. And just bully the stage. Again, on principle, because why not? I've done it before, and, you know, I have no qualms about doing it again. And, you know, I believe it's here at this point. Yeah, here's my last LD ability on her. And, you know, the bosses are not going to get any more turns at this point. And, yeah, at this point, it's just straight up abuse. And you know what? I don't even care. I'm here for it. They deserve it because I wasted 3-4 hours of my time. Like, yes, I know I technically did it to myself because, you know, using an outdated character. But the fact remains, like, this is one way to do it. I've seen other ways that people did it where they used, like, Onion Knight or they used Garland, which the problem without using Yang, though, is you're missing out on that damage right there. That extra 86,000 HP damage that he's doing, you know, as a follow-up. And he's getting so much Brave back because of Butts. That Butts burst. And now, so here we are. We're on the home stretch. We're going to take it home. And, you know, we're going to go ahead and just say, chuck it in the fucking bucket. Enter the summon, because why increase the turn count any more than we really have to? I realistically probably should have done that with Yang, but I didn't. So it is what it is. And, yeah, we end it. Take these burbs to the fucking skillet and cook them, because how many more burbs are we going to have to fight here, realistically? I'm sick and tired of them. This fight, once again, can completely eat my ass. And you know what? Again, though, a win is a win. It really shouldn't matter how I did it. The fact remains that Firion was on the team when I got this done. And yeah, you know, I got to do what I got to do, right? And I plan to make sure that he's on my team for as long as I can. That includes trying to even get him to early Lufenia Plus, where at that point I will more than likely have to bench him. Anywho, I hope you guys enjoyed this video recap, and this is Nasty Asti, signing off.